Well, VAR was our friend on Saturday and our foe tonight. That's a deflating end to the match at St James's Park. The Everton match votes come up, Newcastle fans, so make sure you stick around.
I just thought the old regime, I don't want to put names to it, but
no, I think we all talked about Paul Dummett tonight because he's the one who's conceded the penalty in the 85th minute, so it's okay to put a name. I know who you're talking about. Welcome back to Black White Banter, you lovely Newcastle fans, and match day is here already, just when we were literally still watching the highlights of that absolute Harvey Barnes storming beauty.
Barnes took it on, played it forwards now. This is Barnes without chasing. Gordon gets to the ball first, spins away and turns again. This is Barnes, beats his man. Harvey Barnes!
What a day, what an absolute day. Now when you strip football down to its bare bones, you forget about trophies and politics and stadiums. Will we sign him, will we sign him, make this change? Football at its purest was the moment that Barnes smashed that ball in the back of the net in the 94th minute, whatever it was, and I fell how many ever seats forward. It's just moments like that that you go through all the money, all the heartbreak. But we've got to do it again. We are literally going again. Everton home, that's another game we'd expect. I didn't get a match preview done because I was too busy dealing with Eddie Howe's mag. So yeah, if you haven't watched that, go and check that one out. It's a game we are the favourites in. Everton are on a record run without a win, which is pretty mad. Obviously points deductions, I think, making them look worse than what they actually are in the league. We got absolutely turned over at Goodison Park. A lot of Newcastle fans don't like these, and of course there's a certain goalkeeper who none of us like. But with this patched up team, and it is turning into a bit of ACL bingo, who's going to pull theirs tonight? If we can manage to somehow pull out 2 wins out of 2 in 3 days, that'll be massive. Literally, I mean, it's who's going to play where. That's what it's turned into a game of. Team news tonight, we'll wait for it to come out. Who's going to play? Who would you pick? Look, a lot of Newcastle fans have craved Eddie Howe making changes. He was forced into changes, and my God, did they work on Saturday. Now there is probably more pressure when that team sheet comes out for them, some of them players to come in, and I think rightly so, because we were down and out, we were dejected in the stands on Saturday. Suddenly Lewis Hall, the forgotten man for large parts of this season, comes on and makes a difference. Jacob Murphy at right back made a difference. Elliot Anderson for me has to start. I think Lewis Hall I would give a go to in this match. I don't think he was tested too much defensively against West Ham, but he did put in a really good shift. And I think with the injuries we've got, does he really have a choice but to mix it up? But Elliot Anderson gave us the energy and the drive, and he has to be match fit now. He's been on the bench about 5 or 6 games. Anthony Gordon not being available cuts like a knife between my testicles for this one. He would have been so up for sticking one up his old club. I'm just gutted, absolutely gutted. Not only is he one of our most pivotal players in terms of attack and threat, but just because of the opposition. So Harvey Barnes has to come in. Just keep doing what you do. Do what we spent that £35 million on you for. But the team news is about to come out. It's going to be interesting to see who he goes for. It's patched up. We're going to have to get behind them. We are playing against the wind this season massively, and we are struggling to even put a team out. But we've just got to limp through these last few matches and see where they take us. Big game tonight under the lights. I'm going to go and sink a few beers because I'm early for once and wait for that team news to come out. Away the lads! There she blows. I've got a Red Bull the size of my head. I've just been for a couple of pints with one of my American friends who's over for these matches, and we are ready to go. Team news has dropped. Lewis Hall is in. Lots of Newcastle fans are going to be happy about that. I hope he has an absolute blinder. Elliot Anderson's in, but he's kept Longstaff in as well. Now a substitutes bench is exactly what you'd expect from a substitutes bench, that is literally asking the tea lady to start putting the shin pads on. We've got Joe Willock, and that's pretty much it. So it's what we've got. We've got to get behind them tonight. But before I dart inside, it would not be a match day because I didn't do a preview without some black white banter. Stats. 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 Alexander Isak, or the Swedish Prince, has actually got the highest goal average per game in the Premier League this season. Yes, he's got even better than Mr. Erling Haaland. Hopefully that continues tonight. Everton have actually scored 6 of their last 7 goals in the last 15 minutes of matches. So hopefully the lads have had a kind of Red Bull like I'm about to drink at half time to make sure that doesn't happen again tonight. And finally, sticking with Mr. Alexander Isak, he's the theme of these stats. No player has scored in 5 consecutive home games since a goof ran, a goof ran. Oh, where he scores a goal. Yes, that's right, Mr. Johan Gouffran back in 2013. Again, let's hope that this is the Alexander Isak show and all of these lovely stats continue. Right, I am going to get myself inside now before I get absolutely soaking wet. Come on, the boys. Talking to you from the bogs. Great goal by Isak, but I'm pretty happy with that half. I am pretty happy with that half. I think we've had control in that first half, which is something we haven't really had for most of the season. Goes back to last season a little bit. That was really nice. Couple of chances. Pickford, as much as it pains me to say it, has actually played pretty well. He's made a couple of big saves. I thought Elliot Anderson has been exactly what we've been missing in midfield. Jacob Murphy's looked bright enough. Alexander Isak, I was picking him up on the stats before this match. What a finish. That man is just beautiful. We've got to build on this in the second half, though. They've had a couple of half chances, but generally speaking, we've dictated that game, and we haven't done that for a while now at home. I just don't ever fancy this Newcastle team to not concede a goal, so we need to build on this and go and get a second one. We've got no one really to bring off the bench apart from Willock. Let's build. Oh, come on. This could be a huge win. Are we, lads? Right, just come out of the stadium. I'm joined by Brian and a gentleman who I know quite well, Jim, who is over from Nashville in America. I met Jim. We were speaking before the pre-season last summer, but I met Jim last summer. We've kept in touch ever since, and I've been for a couple of beers before the match. So we'll just dive straight in. First question: what was your initial thoughts on that match as a whole? I'll start with you, Brian.
Well, it's one of them games where basically if you don't get that second goal, you're always going to struggle. And unfortunately, you know, when the team's having to rely on the likes of Paul Dummett, and I mean that respect to Paul Dummett, you know, he's been a good player for us, but we shouldn't be having to rely on the people like him. Yeah.
That kind of sums up how much we are down to the bare bones. The fact
exactly,
that
exactly.
Yeah. Over to you then, Jim. What were your initial thoughts? I'll dive into a little bit more in-depth questions with regards to the match itself. What were your initial thoughts on the game as a whole?
It was a solid match. I was going to expect a win, but at the same time, Everton had something to fight for.
Yeah, of course.
So getting a draw at the end of the day because they had more to fight for theoretically, it happened. Unfortunately, going back to Dummett, if you reflect, when you asked me in preseason who's my favorite player, I said Dummett out of jest. I admit it. But that was hard to watch him come in and basically give that game away. Yeah.
I don't think any of us have seen it back yet, but from what I'm understanding from messages in my WhatsApp group that weren't very polite about the whole scenario, it didn't cover him much glory. I think he's basically rugby tackled Ashley Young to the ground.
That isn't fair, and I understand. These injuries are what hurts because Dummett should be gone at the end of the season. Not out of anything malice, but just good service to the club. But it's time for him to go. if we didn't have 2 ACLs, 9 months injuries, where they're saying another
The
year.
ACL bingo.
ACL bingo. We're going to get another year out of Dummett just out of the hopes that maybe we need to play him. It's a rough thought to think of.
And back over to yourself. Hypothetically, 4 points from West Ham and Everton, would you have taken it or not? And I know it's difficult to say now that you know what the outcome of the matches was. Would you have taken that? Going into the Fulham match or not?
After West Ham and before Everton, I would have expected a strong 6.
Right, okay. And yourself, would you have taken 4?
Once again, because of the players we've got out, I would have took 4.
Yeah.
I would have took 4, to be fair.
I think if we were capable of going down to Fulham and getting a win on Saturday, 7 from 9 is not, with a squad that is down to its bare bones, that's not a bad week.
That's asking a lot, though.
No, it is, yeah.
It's asking a lot.
I agree.
If we drew against West Ham, I would have demanded 3 points from today. But the fact that we got 1 today, and it was from a tough pen, overall, 4 is 4. And we're still looking at drawing close to Europe. We're looking at still attracting European contending players for next season. And that's what we really need to look at, is building that squad depth.
I'm going to wrap this up, Jim, though. Before I stop speaking to yourself, I'm going to join you for a pint, hopefully, after I've done these videos. Last question on coming all the way over from America. I do have some watchers of my videos that are from America. What would you say to any fan who's a little bit hesitant, doesn't know maybe who to meet up with in their own country, doesn't know whether to come over to Newcastle? What would you say to them?
I say follow Black and White Banner, because if there's nothing...
I'm not buying you a pint after this, mind.
Yeah, but if nothing more for the stats.
And anyone who's reading the programme from the Everton game, from the West Ham game, you might recognise Jim's got a full 2-page spread, which he was very quick to tell me about in the pub beforehand. But yes, I'm hoping to see Jim for the hopefully pre-season, might be in America again. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
If they do another US tour.
And please tell people if they are ever in America, they should come and find you or find your Facebook group. Go on, tell us.
Music City Magpies, Nashville, Tennessee. If you're coming for the honky tonks, if you're coming for the country music,
what about the beers?
If you're coming for the pints, if you're coming for conventions.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you found out.
I met him in Nashville, actually.
There you go.
We met in Nashville.
Wonderful.
And I've been a few times over there
Right.
on business, and what a city.
Right.
Great city.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for speaking to me, gents, and I'll go and let you get to them pints because it is quite cold. Thank you very much on these videos. David, who is braving the top only, he's representing Newcastle there on a Tuesday, quite a cold Tuesday night now. Actually, he's just Newcastle top only. Right, you were just telling me you're very frustrated. That you were actually frustrated with fans coming in quite not joyous, but chirpy into the pub straight after the match because you've just watched it in Shearer's. Sum it up first. We'll dive in a little bit deep. You've already given me some of your thoughts. Sum up what you thought about that.
Well, I thought we had control of the game, and we thought like we were going to win the game. And when they equalised, I just thought Isaac put us in front.
Great goal. Great goal.
Amazing goal. And Bruno, oh my God, he had an amazing game.
Yeah,
didn't he? He was dragging us through it.
So what went wrong tonight? In the first half we had a lot of control. What went wrong in the second half? Was it a case of legs?
It's not legs, obviously they're professional footballers, but I just thought the old regime, I don't want to put names to it, but
No, I think we all talked about Paul Dummett tonight because he's the one who's conceded the penalty in the 85th minute, so it's okay to put a name. I know who you're talking about. Give me one positive about tonight's performance. I'll get the negatives in a second. Bruno.
And I feel sorry for Bruno because he's just... he deserves better, doesn't he? At the very least, he deserves European football. He does.
Give us one. Give us one negative about tonight. Apart from the result, of
the
course,
old regime. We need to get them out. We need to get.
the old wood.
Yeah, we do.
Dead wood.
We do. We need the transition quickly.
Yeah.
Because Newcastle United are going forward, and it's not just like our expectation now is gone to another level.
That deflated feeling coming out of St James's Park. a point gained is better than 0. 4 points in 3 days with a bare thin squad is better than 0 or 2 or 1. Totally appreciate that, but that game just feel like it was stolen away from us. And look, VAR has done us over tonight, but VAR is also in the same sort of thing for me where it still swings and roundabouts, and we got 2 on Saturday. The second one, you could argue, against West Ham was a little bit dubious. Tonight it's been pulled back, so it's screwed us over a little bit, but we certainly live to fight another day. And I guess there's what I didn't like about the St James's Park crowd tonight, I'll be honest, and I don't mind saying it, I am in that crowd, and if anyone doesn't like me saying it, the reaction at full time was just a little bit over the top. There was no clapping in the corner when full time went. There was a couple of boos. I don't know whether that was aimed at the referee or Pickford, I'm not sure. But what I'm seeing tonight, in the first half, without a doubt, I said at half time, I saw really, really maximum effort, but control. We have not seen much control at St James's Park, in my opinion, for a very long time in a football match. It's been so all over the place, so frantic, so chaotic, and we saw that, and we created chances. We kept lots of the football. We were quite crisp against West Ham in the first half. We were not, so that was nice to see. And we had a couple of sniffs. Pickford made a couple of good saves, and I thought we started the game really, really bright. I thought Kraft looked a lot better than when he came on Saturday, starting from full-back. I thought Elliot Anderson was exactly what our midfield has been missing. So energetic, like when he came on in the second half against West Ham. So full of beans, so energetic. Purpose when he had the football. He wanted to carry us forward. He wanted to do the dirty work. He wanted to put a tackle in. That was nice to see, and that's definitely something we've been missing. Isak, lovely strike from him. I was bigging him up just before this match about his stats. That is exactly the position you want Alexander Isak to be in, where he's cutting in on that right foot. No defender wants to deal with that. I thought Harvey Barnes, again, we know what we're getting from him. I thought, assists maybe isn't so much what we're expecting to get, but that was a lovely ball for Isak over the top. He always wants the ball. He is always on the overlap. And Bruno, as David, who I've just spoken to there, testified to, very, very bright from Bruno, carrying us, leading us, driving the ball forward, trying to make things happen. And I thought, genuinely, as a team, we were all gelling together quite well in that first half, and I was relatively happy at half time. Yes, Everton had a couple of half chances, but we also had a couple of chances saved, and it could have been more than 1-0. So, at half time, you're going into that second half, Newcastle don't have any options off the bench. We've got Joe Willock, he's a great option, but apart from that, you're scraping the barrel. And I just felt in that second half we dropped off a cliff a little bit. But what I am putting that down to, and lots of people watching this video are going to say he's making excuses, these are professional footballers, as I've just had thrown to me. But we are a squad who did not have the options like we did on Saturday to bring anyone on to change the game. And I tell you what, when you are 1-0 up and you are desperate to get that win and maybe get over the line, maybe offer a little bit more moving forward. Hello, mate. We just didn't have it. We had Joe Willock. We had Joe Willock to come on, and that was it. And Joe Willock, when he came on, he did offer us a little bit of energy. Probably not as much as I would have hoped, but it's facts. It is facts. We are down to the absolute bare bones. And on Saturday, when the going was getting a little bit tough and we were flat as a fart and dejected in the stands, he brings on Barnes. The players were rolling, he brings on Anderson. What did we have tonight? Well, apart from youngsters, we had Matt Ritchie, we had Paul Dummett, which we'll touch on in a second, and we had Joe Willock. Joe Willock came on, he had a bit of an influence, and he helped us. He helped giving us a little bit more energy. I'm looking at Alexander Isak, fantastic footballer, fantastic player, but there is a common theme here when we are watching Isak, that after about 65 minutes, I don't think he's fully fit anyway, he's starting to drop off in intensity. He looks slower, and his fitness levels just look like they plummet. And I don't want to say we play him with 10 men, because he does still look for the ball, but his energy, he's running of the channels, his link-up play, it slows down, and for me that's been a very, very common theme, because we do not have another player who can come on tonight and change it, because Callum Wilson, obviously we don't need to talk about him, he's nowhere to be seen, and I think it showed, and we just dropped off in energy. And I don't think that was anything down to Everton doing anything different in the second half. I just feel like the intensity levels that we played at in the first half were to a good standard. I genuinely believe they were. I'm not saying they were the standards that we know under Eddie Howe that have made us the really, really hard team to play against at St James's Park. But I was happy. I was really happy at half time. They had a couple of sniffs, and then in the second half, all I noticed was just It was just energy levels, and I'm not making excuses, but what I think is so important in these last couple of matches of the season is just to keep rallying this group of players, because my God, we are down to our absolute bare bones. And then of course Lewis Hall, every single match now we are not escaping without a player going down injured. And Lewis Hall, you couldn't write it. The boy who's been desperate to get in all season goes off. And of course, because we are so thin, Paul Dummett has to come on. The same Paul Dummett who was still at Newcastle, I can remember well, scoring against Man United when Steve McLaren was manager in 2015. He's done a good job for us in previous matches against Man City and Man United in the Carabao Cup earlier this season. He comes on, you're thinking, right, let's just see the game out, Paul. Don't do anything daft. And what does he do? I haven't seen it back, but as far as I understand, he does something very, very, very stupid. And I tell you what, yes, we can say that our intensity levels weren't good in the second half. You can argue that Everton maybe deserved the point. I thought Everton, they did create a couple of chances. They did hit the post in the second half. But if the injuries do not get a hold of us, I genuinely believe we win that football match, because Paul Dummett does not enter the pitch. Paul Dummett does not make a stupid decision, and we see that game out. And of course, he made a stupid decision. They got the penalty. They scored the penalty. And as the rest, as they say, is history. The match finished 1-1. And again, I'm not looking forward to watching it back when I get in the house tonight. But we just have to stick with this group of players. I'm not saying that I'm happy with 4 points from West Ham and Everton, both at St James's Park. I'm not. But that was a match there that was just stole away from us. I mean, look at the second half. The one off the line. The offside decision, which looked narrowly offside from the photo I've been sent in my WhatsApp group, when Isak gets slipped the quick free kick and he puts it across for Dan Burn. Isak then has one off the line, and if that goes in, if one of them chances goes in, the second goal in that match was absolutely crucial. What have we learnt about Newcastle tonight? We've learnt that I sort of built up to it in the lead up to this match. We're just going to have to stick by this group of players, because there are random players like Kraft, like Dummett, like Elliot Anderson swapping for Willock, and Longstaff, who I thought tonight had such a disappointing match. Longstaff with these injections, I don't know how many he's having to have in his foot. He just needs the summer to come. He does. I still think there's a very good player in there, but for me, it just looks like he's getting worse with every game. He's misplacing passes, he's slow to win the first ball, and his link-up play in and around the box just isn't great. It's not offering us very much. And I think Bruno, in all fairness, because he's been playing out of his skin for us for large parts of this season, must be just a little bit frustrated of having Sean Longstaff next to him. And I feel so bad saying that, but on the form of Longstaff, I can't really say any other. And we just have to stick by this group of players. We really, really do. I thought defensively, Dan Burn looked pretty comfortable at centre-back. I thought to say it was a makeshift defence, Lewis Hall for large spells, he did well. I still think he's not very good in the air. His stats before he signed for us suggest that. I still think he can be a little bit weak in the tackle and in his aggression, because he's not a big lad. I think that's something he'll have to work on the more football he plays, but he's only a young kid. And generally speaking, I did not think Newcastle were bad tonight. We just did not have enough to crank it in the second half and maybe offer that intensity that we saw against West Ham. And what happened against West Ham when we brought players on? We upped that intensity and we won the football match and created a bucket of chances. We've still created chances tonight, but we haven't created enough, and we haven't been able to get over that line. And unfortunately, we've been punished. But on another day, if Paul Dummett doesn't make a stupid decision, we take 6 points and we singing and dancing on to Fulham. It's a long old rest of the season left, in my opinion, to get these European places. I'm still going to stay relatively confident that we can get top 8 and get there, but that one just feels like an absolute stinger. But I wasn't happy with the reaction of some fans at full time. I really, really wasn't. It's not all doom and gloom. We have just got a point, a win snatched from us that turned into a point late on, and it's not all bad. And I feel more with this group of players than I probably ever have before, because of the injuries and because of this freak season, this exhausting season. But we just need to keep that mentality and stick with them. Newcastle fans, if you've liked this match vlog, do us a favour, whack that little likey Lou, whack the subscribe button. I will be going down to Fulham on Saturday for what is another big game in another big week that we are still unbeaten in. I'm trying to see some positives, but that one was frustrating. On another night, we'd probably take the points. Keep the faith, Newcastle fans. Away the lads.